Brazilian Jiu Jitsu has changed my life massively. I used to be a guy who got into fights a lot. I used to be very insecure in proving myself physically. When you don't know whether you can fight, your ego is going to be very sensitive. It also extends to confrontations and conflict that would feel very heavy to me and something that I would rather avoid because I don't know how I would respond and if I could control myself. It's no way to be as a man. It all comes from a very insecure and very weak place. No matter how big you are, how strong you are, how tough you are, it's not something that you can prove to yourself through toxic negative behavior. Not being in control of this shit actually makes you a whole lot weaker as a man. So when I stumbled upon Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 3 years ago, first of all, and let's call that the first lesson, my ego got crushed, right? I got into the gym. I'm a strong dude. I've been in the gym for a long time. So I came in very excited. After a few technique drills and so forth, we started sparring. I got my ass handed to me backwards, man. I got absolutely, it's like you're thrown in the ocean. You cannot swim, but you're not just learning how to swim, you're also swimming with sharks, you know? So the last round, there's this girl that wants to roll. I think she's like 30 kilos lighter than me. And I'm like, okay, this will be good for my ego. Before I go home, I will at least, I can at least do something here. Oh man, how wrong was I? She showed me every corner of the mats, just like the other guys did. So with my tail between my legs, I go home. And I think I never want to experience that again. As a guy that especially wanted to try to prove his ego, I felt my ego was absolutely crushed. And I thought, I don't want to feel this ever again. So I jumped into this world of Jiu-Jitsu and I started learning. So after that first lesson that, of course, continued over time, right? This lesson of humility. I started seeing the second lesson. That's about masculine energy. The journey of becoming better at fighting and seeing your progress is something that boosts your masculine energy and your self-confidence to an astronomical degree. And I didn't experience a boost in self-confidence from anything else that I've done in my life. It makes you walk around different, confident in your ability to defend yourself. So the funny thing is that as I started actually becoming somewhat capable of defending myself in these sparring sessions and became better, I have never gotten into a fight again. I've never had a confrontation or conflict that felt like heavy or that there was some danger of escalation. It simply doesn't happen anymore. I think that's something that's really interesting, that before that, as I got into fights, these fights were mostly with other guys that were proving themselves, right? So the guys that have self-confidence and a sense of self-defense, these guys don't have anything to prove anymore, man. They will be the kindest motherfuckers. They will not be looking for fights while going out. They will not be out of control in some confrontation. Because, at this point, doing it for fun, there's no need for that shit anymore. And that's an amazing second lesson. To become more confident in your masculinity as you become better at defending yourself. Something that will continue only more throughout the journey. And then at some point, I always had this claustrophobia, fear to be locked into a small space. As I was practicing Jiu-Jitsu, it was never a problem. I never even made the connection, the thought of it, right? I spent many hours under guys more than 110 kilo, just feeling okay as you can still breathe a little bit. But one particular training session, I was in this situation again, and for some reason I was quite tired and a bit too relaxed for a fighting situation. I was wandering off a little bit, and I connected in that moment this idea of, hey, wait, if I wanted to get out under this guy, I couldn't. And I suddenly started panicking the way I would in situations where I would feel claustrophobic. This is an extraordinary example that most guys that do jiu-jitsu probably never thought of, just like I did before that moment. But the amount of fear and panic through this claustrophobia thing, so overwhelming that I had to tap in that moment. And I went home really upset with myself and in conflict with myself as I wasn't able to deal with this fear. And so over the next few sessions, I made it an absolute promise to put myself only in these situations, to adopt the mindset of, you gotta fucking kill me because I'm not gonna tap. To expose myself to that exact fear and panic, and to simply learn how to swim in that fear. And I'm telling you this story simply because it is an example of something that probably most guys don't experience, but You are dealing in jiu-jitsu and in martial arts for that matter, you deal with extreme emotions. Not particularly this one, but you will deal with fear, with ego, aggression, with the darker side within you. And conquering that side in yourself is a skill that is literally parallel to life. If you can deal with chaos, if you can deal with this very primal kind of chaos, right? Fighting. In this moment, it feels often like it's, it's you or me, it's life and death. That's the emotional response that you would sometimes get. Becoming in control of that, being calm in the chaos, is something that changes everything in your life outside of the mats. You can be in a meeting, someone starts shouting at you, and you're just like, it affects you less as you are used to a higher level of stress and intensity. And that is something that will change your life, guaranteed. Hey, just quick. We're building a community here of future masculine role models. The world needs masculine leaders right now. So if you're the type of man that's gonna fill that spot, subscribe to the channel and join this movement. Let's get back to the video. And then still chronologically, as I continued Jiu-Jitsu, the last and fourth lesson that I learned: as you continue to visit the undiscovered darker side within your masculinity, within yourself, you build the equal capacity for love. This is simply a law of nature. The further you go into this darker side within yourself and are able to control it or to be okay with it, the same amount you will expand to the other side, which is about love, right? About peace. It is the balance of nature, right? It's the frustration and depth of emotion you feel towards your partner indicates how much you love her. The depth of your sadness indicates how much happiness you can feel. It is a balance, it is a law of nature. And so as you expand that darker side within yourself, you become a more peaceful, more kind, and more loving man. I became a better lover, a better friend, and a better human being through Jiu-Jitsu. As I learned these lessons that I mentioned before, you go deeper and deeper and further down in this dark side of aggression and power and ego, and you visit it and you become okay with it, you conquer it. It means that as you expand that side of yourself, you are expanding your capability to be loving, to be peaceful, and to be kind. And this is about everything in life, whether it is about some guy that is talking shit to you in a bar and you're just like, you can fight if you want. People can smell it on you, right? People can smell that you've been in situations like this regularly, that you are not afraid to the slightest. Even more so, that you don't want it, that you have so little to prove, that you are choosing kindness, that you become so certain of yourself inflicting damage to other people, that you are choosing completely voluntarily kindness, love, and peace. That is something at the core of masculinity, that is something truly honorable and beautiful. And it's an amazing life lesson that I learned and I'm continuing to expand every day. So those are the four absolutely life-changing life lessons that I've learned through Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I want to give you a bonus lesson that's something a bit more poetic and philosophical, but it's something that I think about a lot. The fact that Jiu-Jitsu is a metaphor for life. And I'll give you one example, because there is a lot of these as you start learning the techniques and concepts of Jiu-Jitsu. If somebody puts pressure on you, puts force on you, it is your instinct, your natural instinct to put force back, right? If somebody verbally comes at you, you have the urge to fight back. If someone attacks your ego, you have the urge to attack his ego. If someone pushes you, you want to push the guy back, right? It's a natural urge that you have. And one of the first things you'll learn in Jiu-Jitsu is that when somebody is pushing on your chest, for example, then in these first lessons, you will be like an idiot. You will push back, of course. It is a basic concept to use that kinetic force and to use that energy, transfer that into a more advantageous position for yourself, using the other person's energy, right? Using the direction of his force, using the pressure and energy that he puts on you as a weapon for yourself. And it's absolutely the same in life. And by the way, yes, this is actually through Jiu-Jitsu. I was competing, and I highly advise If you're into this martial art, if you start out and you're into it, I would highly advise you to very soon do your first competition. This is definitely not a normal thing. You should just not be an idiot like me and watch your fingers a little bit more. But the aspect of competition is literally a magnification of all the lessons that you learn through Jiu-Jitsu. Because of the pressure and intensity of an actual scheduled fight, this is something you cannot simulate in classes. So I would advise you to get into competition as well. And with that, that's the video, man. See you in the next one.